Number 1, what is your name, please?
My name is Tony Russa.
Number 2.
My name is Tony Russa.
And number 3.
My name is Tony Russa.
Only one of these people is the real Tony Russa and has sworn to tell the truth. And now let's meet our panel. At 3 years old, the star of Atlanta's Ragamuffins of Rhythm, Nipsey Russell. The never-to-be-forgotten Anita of West Side Story, Rita Moreno. Back home in the Big Apple, star of 8 Is Enough, New York's own Dick Van Patten. And star of stage, film, and opera, Kitty Carlisle. That's our panel. And here's the host of To Tell the Truth, Robin Ward.
Thank you and welcome to Tell the Truth. And panel, are you familiar with how the game is played? Sort of. Shall we get right down to the first problem presented by our first team of challengers? Fine. You may tear open your little envelopes and follow along as I read. I, Tony Russa, am manager of the Chicago White Sox. I am the youngest manager in the major leagues. I moved up in organized baseball through the usual channels, as a player, then coach, then manager of a White Sox farm team. When I was called up, I became the team's 4th manager in 3 years. In such a business, it's a good thing that I have another profession to fall back on. I happen to be the only manager in the majors with a degree in law. Signed, Tony Russa. All right, panel, these 3 gentlemen all claim to be White Sox manager Tony Russa. Let's start the questioning at our very own sports desk, Kitty Carlisle.
Oh, dear, dear, dear. Well, number 3. How did you happen to get a law degree and be a baseball player at the same time? You have more energy than most people, I take it.
Well, I do. I took an extra year to do it, and the school was very cooperative.
And where did you go to law school?
University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill.
And number 2, as a manager of a team, what are your do you have to discipline the players?
Only when they do something wrong.
And how do you discipline them? You don't spank them, I take it.
Well, you can talk to them. You can take their money.
You take their money away?
Sometimes.
Number 1, can you find them?
I can't, but the general manager or the president of the ball club can.
And who's the president, manager, and the president of the ball club?
Bill Veck is our president, owner, general manager.
And where do you play?
And we go to Nipsey Russell.
Number 1, how many night games do you play?
Play about 60 night games.
How many do you play in Chicago? Night games.
In Chicago, we play about 38 this year.
Okay, number 2, what player from Chicago is known as Mr. Cub?
Mr. Cub, that would be Ernie Banks, I think.
Okay, number 3, what player now has a son who's playing on a team that he might oppose in the upcoming World Series?
No, more Wills.
Yes. Number 2, did Bill Veck have a war record?
Yes, he did. He was very distinguished.
Number 1, there was a trick in baseball where somebody had a midget to come up as a batter, and what's the name of that man?
Eddie Gaedel was the name of the player, and Bill Veck.
And we go to Rita.
Number 3, who's Van Lingo Mongo?
Van Lingo Mongo, I believe that he plays for Minnesota.
Right. Number 1, who's Van Lingo Mongo?
Van Lingo Mungo played for the St. Louis Cardinals in the 50s.
Okay, number 2, can you tell me, please, who originated baseball?
Abner Doubleday.
Number 3, what kind of law do you specialize in?
Corporate and labor law.
I have run out of questions. That's as much as I know about baseball. Thank you very much.
The buzzer came just in time, Rita. And we go to Dick Van Patten.
Oh, yes. Number 1, what is the scandal associated with the White Sox?
The White Sox scandal took place around 1919. It was also called the Black Sox scandal at the time, and it was over paying off umpires in the World Series.
Thank you. Number 2, who was Shoeless Joe Jackson?
Oh, boy.
He was a member of that 1919 Black Sox.
Number 3, number 3, who is your best hitter on the White Sox?
The best hitter on the White Sox? I'd say right now it's Cruz.
A little bell says time is up, panel, and it's going to be real tough because these guys know what they're talking about. It's now time to vote for number 1, number 2, or number 3. Whoever, in your opinion, is the real Tony La Russa. We pay $100 for each incorrect vote, and if our team of challengers completely schneiders you, they will win $500. Are the ballots all marked?
Yeah.
And Kitty, who'd you vote for?
Well, I voted for number 1. He's the only one with a suntan. And even though he's a manager, he's got to be out there sometime looking at the team. So I voted for number 1.
Okay. Your reasons are wonderful, Kitty. They really are. It's a marvelous reason. Nipsey, who'd you vote for?
I voted for number 1, although I didn't know that they played night games in the White Sox park. I didn't think that it was lighted for night games. But he gave me such a vast amount of information, I thought maybe he misunderstood my question.
Okay, and Rita?
Well, there's only one person on that panel that to me looks like a Tony La Russa. That's just an instinctive guess. But also Van Lingelmongo and, of course, Doubleday kind of convinced me that it's number 1.
Okay, and finally Dick.
Oh, shucks. I didn't vote for number 1. He got all the answers right and everything, but I just thought that number 3 looked like he might also be practicing law at the same time while he was being a manager.
I think you're right.
Okay, the votes are all in. Now we're going to find out who is really the youngest manager in the major leagues. Will the real Tony La Russa please stand up?
We're skunked.
We're skunked.
You're skunked. Let's find out who our imposters are, panel. Number 1, you pulled it off. You got 3 votes. Would you tell us, please, who you are and what you really do?
My name is Steve Forrest, and I'm Senior Creative Supervisor for Kornhauser and Colleen Advertising here in New York.
And number 3, you aided and abetted in this general skunking. Would you tell us, please, who you are and what you really do?
My name's Pete Moeller, and I do survey research at the National Opinion Research Center here in New York.
And these are rat finks that produce this show. They put this guy in a business suit, and they put the other 2 in baseball uniform.
Yeah.
Tony, apart from contracts and that sort of thing, how does your law degree help your particular job as manager? I mean, when the umpire says you're out, can you appeal, that sort of thing?
No, then they hold you for contempt. No, really, it has very little to do with baseball. It just gives you that nice cushion to fall back on because this job's not very secure.
Well, sweep it was. There were 4 incorrect votes, giving you our jackpot of $500. Tony, I wish you great success with the Sox and your law future. Gentlemen, you were terrific. Thanks for joining us on To Tell the Truth. And come back to join us on One-on-One very shortly. Thanks a lot. We'll be back right after these messages with more.